Jeff had just finished his nightly rounds. As he walks to the front door of his old house, he yawns while wiping the blood from his forehead. He walks to the kitchen, grabs a bottle of Jim Beam, his liquor of choice, from the fridge. He sits down to the table and starts to clean his knife. It was covered in bile and blood. As he takes the rag and starts to slowly polish, he is thinking back to all the victims he had taken that night. The old lady screaming and begging for mercy. How about the father and his two children sleeping as he slit their throats as they were in dreamland? What about the woman he strangled to death at the bus stop with her own strap off of her purse? As he finishes cleaning the last bit of his knife, he walks to his bed, finishing the last bit of his liquor, plops himself down, relaxing. This is the life, Jeff proclaims as he slowly drifts off to sleep. As he drifts off to sleep, and he's just at the breaking point of sleep, he starts to hear a sound. A sound that he's never heard before. It's the sound of circus music. As Jeff jumps off the ground, he looks around, notices fluorescent lights over his head. What the fuck? Notices old tattered tents surrounding him, booths with game of chance, the stuffed animals that they would normally have as prizes with nooses round their necks, old torn down amusement rides. As Jeff's pondering at this sight, he starts to hear a man singing. He's not sure what to make of it. As he looks around to find the source, he sees a man prancing around on the top of a tent, a circus tent, the biggest one there. As the man's prancing, he has a mandolin in his hand behind the full moon, singing as if not a care in the world. What the fuck? Who the hell is that? Jeff says to himself silently as he rubs his head. As Jeff reaches to rub for his head, though, he notices something different, something off about himself. His body has reverted back to a childlike state, very small and fragile. The burns that were upon his face were no more. He had smooth, silky skin. The crude smile cut into his face was there no more. His eyelids were intact. He was actually able to feel himself blink. What the fuck? As he starts to feel his face in disbelief, he notices the man jumps off of the circus tent and starts to prance toward the entrance. As the man prances inside, Jeff slowly follows behind. Jeff is curious, yet enraged at the same time. He doesn't know what to think about the situation, but in the same sense, he can't help but try to get some answers. As he reaches for his knife out of his hoodie, he notices that the knife's not there. Oh, God damn it. Jeff groans in anger and frustration. As he reaches the entrance, he notices the man has stopped singing. The mandolin has stopped playing, and he's nowhere in sight. Yet there's one spotlight dead center of the circus tent. Everything else is dark. As Jeff slowly approaches, he hears music playing. As Jeff walks, it's a familiar tune he used to hear as a small child. Jeff finds himself singing along to the tune.
Round and round the mulberry bush, the monkey chased the weasel. Monkey thought it was all in fun.
And before Jeff could finish the last part, he finds himself dead center, in the middle with the spotlight. Looking around, all he can see is pure darkness. As fast as the light was there, it was gone. Jeff had found himself surrounded by complete darkness. Out of instinct, Jeff reaches for his knife, but to no avail. As the light comes back on, he notices there are figures standing around him, about the same size as himself. Small figures, slowly inching their way toward Jeff.
Who the fuck are you?
Jeff balls his fists up, ready to battle. But as Jeff gets a good glimpse of these images, he notices they're children from the ages of 6 to 11. A few look like they were like 16, 15. They had cuts, bites, burns all over their body. Some had body parts missing, some had their eyes missing, some had bite marks into their shoulders and necks, some had burns on their faces and legs. They were all surrounding Jeff. Grabbing a hold of him, they start ripping him apart. Jeff screams in pain. As he tries to fight back, no prevail. Right before Jeff blacks out, he wakes up in his bedroom. That's... As Jeff sets himself up from this nightmare, he wakes up in a cold sweat. He notices there's a bloody Raggedy Ann doll sitting at the foot of his bed. He kicks it away, screaming and hollering, flailing. Grabs his knife from his hoodie. Runs to the bathroom mirror, starts to feel his face. The smile still there. The burns still there.
That was a fucked up dream. I need to stop drinking. What the fuck?
But as Jeff grabs water from the faucet and starts cleaning his face, he sits to look at the mirror. He sets up to look at the mirror, and he notices a figure standing behind him. As Jeff sees this figure, he smashes his fist into the glass, shattering it everywhere.
What the fuck? Who the fuck is that?
Jeff turns around, but no one's there. The figure appeared to be a clown, but the features were all wrong. They were all distorted and evil looking.
What the fuck is wrong with me? I need to get my head together.
As Jeff looks at the clock, he notices it's 8:30 p.m. It's time to go on his rounds.
Finally,
Jeff says to himself, smiling as he grabs the knife.
I can get this shit out of my head.
Jeff scoffs to himself as he walks through the front door. As he's walking down the street, he notices, in the far distance, figures watching him. He can't quite see, but they appear to be children, just not doing anything, not walking, just standing there and staring.
No, this is bullshit. This is fucking bullshit.
Jeff scoffs loudly, starts running. As the farther he runs, he notices more children appear.
What the fuck do you want from me?
As Jeff looks behind him and turns back to face the direction he's running, a child is standing right in front of him, blocking his path. He kicks the kid to the floor and just starts ramming his knife into the kid, screaming,
"Leave me the fuck alone!"
But as Jeff snaps back in reality, he notices it's just a doll. Just a doll. Just a bloody, torn doll. As Jeff shakes his head in disbelief, he stands up and starts to run off again. As he's leaving town, he notices that the children are gone. No more are following him.
Finally, those fucking brats have gone.
He walks over to an old log, torn down, laying on the side of the street. He goes on the other side and lays down to try to piece together the whole situation. As Jeff lays there contemplating, he starts to hear music. Familiar, yet distant music. It appears to be the same circus music he had heard before.
When's the bullshit gonna end?
He stands up. As he does so, he notices fluorescent lights beaming him in his eyes. As he covers his eyes from the light blinding him, he notices he's in the same circus. Yet there's no children, no music, just a man, the same man he saw from the mirror, standing there at the other end of the circus.
Hello there, Jeff. Do you know who I am?
Honestly, I don't give a fuck.
He pulls his knife.
Why the fuck are you following me, you bastard?
Well, that's a good question. That is a very good question. Do you know why we are so obsessed with killing? Is it the pure and utter sport of it? Is it the feeling of blood running down your hands? Is it watching the light leave a person's eyes? So many reasons. I have my reasons, but do you have yours?
Jeff ponders for a second, laughing.
It's just too much fun.
I thought exactly. And I don't like to share my fun.
As the man says this, he starts to charge at Jeff. Jeff holds his knife in hand, dodges the man's attack. As he gets a better look at this entity, he notices he's wearing old raggedy clown costume, pointed cone nose, stripes all over his body. It appears that his body was literally covered in nothing but zebra stripes. Sharp teeth glistening in the moonlight, black, singed looking hair, claws coming from his hands, standing on hooves.
Now, let's have some real fun, Jeff.
As the man says that, he phases out of sight. Jeff holds his knife in hand, surveying the area for this unknown assailant.
By the way, I never got your name. I like to know the people I'm going to slaughter.
The name's Laughing Jack.
He sees the man standing in front of him, bowing. But as the man bows, jumps up and kicks Jeff square in the jaw. Jeff goes flying back. As Jeff finally gets his bearings and stands, he notices the man runs into one of the fun houses. As Jeff follows, he notices he's surrounded by funhouse mirrors.
Where the fuck are you?
As Jeff looks around, he notices he's in a circle of mirrors. He sees Laughing Jack in every mirror, left to right.
Can you choose the right one, or has your alcohol consumption made you a bit dumber?
As Laughing Jack taunts Jeff, he repeatedly starts to stab each mirror, shattering it.
Come out and fight like a man.
As Jeff tires himself out, he notices that Laughing Jack's dancing, laughing at him, just taunting Jeff, making him look like an idiot.
What's the matter, Jeff? Have I made you look like an idiot? Have I finally bested you?
As Laughing Jack says that, he jumps from one of the mirrors and plunges his claws into Jeff's stomach. Jeff starts to spit out blood, as Laughing Jack slams Jeff against a wall.
I'm a real monster. I'm a real killer. You are nothing but a psychotic kid. I've killed thousands. You've only killed mere hundreds. Now it's time to take your place with your parents and your brother.
As Laughing Jack pulls his claw back to strike Jeff, Jeff plunges the knife into Laughing Jack's back. As he pulls the knife out, Laughing Jack staggers back in pain. It appears blood is starting to gush from Laughing Jack's back. As Laughing Jack holds his shoulder, striped blood starts to pour from it. Jeff seizes the opportunity, jumps on top of Laughing Jack, and repeatedly nails the knife into Laughing Jack's chest, non-stop, repeatedly.
Go to sleep, you fucking bastard! Go to fucking sleep!
As Laughing Jack sits there, coughing up striped blood, Jeff looks in his eyes.
Who's the real killer? You're nothing but a childish clown hiding behind magic, hiding behind smoke and mirrors. You're nothing but a fucking fake. Now, it's your time to go to sleep.
Jeff twists the knife into Jack's chest. As Jack breathes his last breath, he fades into a pit of black smoke. The circus around him phases out into the distance, into dust. Jeff stands up, sighing a sigh of relief as it begins to rain. As Jeff walks home, he laughs to himself about this whole experience. Walking into his house, he grabs a bottle of Jim Beam, sits at his couch, turns on the television, and turns it to Channel 1, the news.
I wonder if they'll find my work. I want to see the look on the family's faces.